All right, I got to make some changes. I got to make a couple of changes here. Let me adjust my table back around. All right, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about shaping, all about shaping. I hope everybody's doing good out there. Give me a thumbs up or a comment if the video quality, actually I know the video quality is not as good as it should be. Let me plug in, give me 1 second. Sorry for anyone that is watching this as a playback. I know it can be challenging sometimes. So this is the first time that I'm going live on a computer, so I can actually plug into the Ethernet, and that should hopefully improve the video quality a little bit and the sound quality. How's that? Is that better? All right, so today is all about shaping, and I want to talk about some of the different things. And let me get you first with my background on shaping. So I started out, I built my first home climbing wall in 1995. Some of you may not have been alive then, but that's when I found that climbing the spring of 95, and then I cleared out a space in our green room or our greenhouse to build a climbing wall. I built a climbing wall there, and I immediately got into shaping. Back then, shaping was a lot harder to pick up than it is today. Today, we have all of these cool tutorials, and we're very well connected around the world where we can share each other's knowledge. Back then, we had the internet, and that's actually where I turned to, but it was like some obscure write-ups, papers that I found there. There was some books that were written that shared like a little glimpse into shaping, into the shaping world. And so that's where I got my start. I then had a mentor that moved into my town that used to make props, 3D props for Hollywood. And he is quite incredible when it comes to creating those 3D shapes. He's an amazing sculptor. And he taught me a lot. And after that, I felt confident in starting my own company, which went absolutely nowhere. I worked on it hard for about 3 months, which is just about enough time to put money into a business. And then I did something else in my life, and I moved on. But I continued to shape and have continued to shape as a hobbyist. So I've been shaping as a hobbyist since 1995. And along the way, I've picked up a few things. I definitely don't know all there is to know about shaping. There are some masters out there that know a lot more than I know, but I'm here. I'm willing to share, and hopefully we can learn together. I've been able to sit down with some of those legends in shaping and learn from them. Ian Powell has been a great person that I've been able to ask questions and sit down and speak with him. Louie and Jason Kehl. I've been able to sit down with those three people and just really like pick their brains about shaping, and they've helped me out a lot in coming to where I am now in shaping. And I do have my own techniques and my own tastes. Now, when you are jumping into hobbyist shaping, I'm going to say one thing here that I've noticed on the internet, that your sharp lines in your climbing holds, they appeal on photos. Like they look really, so when you're scrolling down through your feeds and you see somebody's shape and it's got these nice crisp lines waving through it, and yeah, it looks really good in photos. But it's kind of hard when it comes to the usability of it. We want to train on these indoor climbing holds for climbing and not for tearing up our skin. We don't want to be cut. No climbing gym owner wants sharp holds. No person anywhere that spends a lot of time on an artificial wall wants to have holds that are going to cut them up. Now, the rocks that are out there in nature that we all train for and all hope to climb, and there are some indoor climbers only, but I'm an outdoor climber, and I want to climb outdoors, and those holds that are in nature, they can be very sharp, and they can cut you very easily. But we don't need to train on that type of rock just for that purpose. The friction and the conditioning that our skin will get just from the texture of the foam will be enough to toughen up your skin to help you with that. So we don't need to leave them sharp. Okay, roll those edges. It may not look quite as crisp and clean in pictures, but the functionality of it will win over more people. So this is going to be mostly about creating this type of texture today. And I have not practiced for this. So hopefully as I go through and shape this, you can see some failures and some successes, and we can learn together. Please feel free to comment. I will try to pay attention to the comments section and look at that. Since we've got some people watching, can somebody just mention to let me know if the sound is okay? I hope the sound's good. Well, let me uncover my keyboard. I've got my keyboard covered up with plastic because it's going to get dusty. Let's see, how is the sound, guys? I want to make sure everybody can hear me. All right, well, I don't want to wait too long because I hope this sounds good. I hope it's good, and we need to get into shaping. The medium that you're shaping is going to be the first topic that we need to get into. What I have started to like to shape with is this stuff right here. It is the Sahara 2 floral foam. You can, if you are going into a business, you're starting your own hold shaping company, or you want to make 1,000 shapes, then you can do that. I would buy a bun if you're at that point. But until you're at that point, stay with these blocks. You can get these blocks on Amazon after the video, probably tomorrow. I will throw in a link down in the description below where you can get this stuff. It's floral foam, Sahara 2, dry floral foam. I'll show you the box. We've got the box back here. Comes in a box like this. I wish that it was one solid block, but it's really hard to find that as a good deal, and you need to have some pretty good deals as you're just starting out. You want to be able to practice. Now, the absolute cheapest way that you can go is you can actually buy this floral foam at the dollar store. I walked into Dollar Tree earlier today, and I picked up this stuff right here. Cost $1. I got 4 little blocks there that we can start shaping with. So we might bust these out today. In fact, let's just go ahead and bust them out right now. I'm really worried that this video quality is bad and the sound quality is bad. It says that it's unable to connect, not know why. Let's see. Let me check my connection here. It says I've got a connection. I don't know why I'm not able to connect to chat. Let me pull it up on my phone and see. See where we're at here. Like I said, I normally do this. I normally do this on my phone, so this is new to me. Going on the computer. All right. We'll try to get it figured out here. Okay. So I'm talking to JD right now as we speak. Maybe he can help me out. So um, I feel like I'm on that cusp of the age where I know technology and I don't know technology. And right now it's definitely showing that I do not know technology. I need some help, guys. I'm trying to help you out in getting this. All right. Thanks, JD. He just let me know that my sound quality is good. Audio is good. Great. All right. So let's get into this shaping. So I'm going to start off. We're going to talk about creating this shape right here. Now, I would say that Louie Anderson is probably the best at doing this type of texture of this real rock. And how you create that is you just take a foam block and you snap it. Normally, I will crease it so it snaps a little bit easier. But this is the quality that you get that right off of the bat. This is what it looks like. Let's see. I don't know if there we go. Okay, so you see that how that comes out. Now, what Louie Anderson, when I reached out to him, he mentioned that he does have a technique to kind of manipulate this type of texture, but he wasn't quite willing to share that with me. And I didn't draw too much. But what he did say is he snaps a lot of foam and then he shapes from there. So this side is the bigger piece. This side, if I were to use this as the surface that I'm grabbing, it would be too small to make a bolt on. So this could be potentially a hold, the screw on hold later on down the road. So let's work with this guy. Now, I've got a nice little texture here. I think I want to keep this side because I like the way that looks. And now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to make a scar in the foam with my knife. Just a little bit. And I know I'm going to roll the hold back this way. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper right here. And then I'm going to just snap that side. So did you see how that worked? I just put my knife in there and snapped it. Now, unfortunately, I cannot see my chat, and I wanted to ask you guys what you want to see first. Do you want to see, should we create this block? Should this be more of a jug or more of a sloper? So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and make this, we'll make this into a sloper. So first off, I'm going to take my bigger saw. This is a pull saw. It's actually a very thin saw, but it has a wide blade. And I'm going to work from back side. And this is the trick in creating your either a sloper or a jug. When you have that snap, I'm going to work from the back side first. So I'm going to make this more of a sloper. So I'm going to cut the back side at a slope. So that's the angle that you're going to be grabbing it at. So we'll start off right there. Nice, beautiful, nice, even cut. When you are shaping, I'm going to mention this right now. You need to be in an area that you have an airflow going. I typically have a filter fan running. It's way too loud for this space and nobody would be able to watch this video. So I don't have it. I've got a small fan going here to kind of blow the dust away from me so I can talk to you guys. If you don't have that option, you really need to wear a dust mask. And I'm really bad at this. I try to be good. Safety glasses. So I'm going to leave those off just because of the glare. I don't want the glare. So I'm going to tip the camera down here. So this is our shape. And I just cut the back side of it. Now I've got my surface right here, and this is just a piece of plywood. It's untreated. It's my work surface, but it is nice and flat. And so I'm going to go ahead, and now that I have my back cut, and this is a good angle. I like this angle that's working at. It's going to be pretty nice. We may try to do some manipulation up here, but I just have theory on how to do that. So we'll see if it works. But we want to make sure that this is nice and flat. So I'm going to go ahead and just roll this back and forth. You can start to see the foam coming off here. So just the friction of this table is enough to sand down the backside. This is dry floral foam. Okay, now if I wanted to make that tip a little bit, I can do that. So I can make this tip. There we go. We've got a nice good tip going on here. Now we're going to get, we've got this nice flat surface back here. Trying to get some questions. Okay. Now let's go into the shaping of this backside. Now you can continue with this same type of texture right here by continuing to snap. But something that I really like, I think it looks nice, is where you have a clean texture, which is smooth. It's only the texture that's given by the foam itself, and your realistic texture. So that's what we're going to accomplish here. First, I don't want this to be a square. Squares are boring, in my opinion. So I'm going to immediately cut that off. Now I notice, because of the way that this snapped, I have a soft spot right here. So I'm going to have to cut this off. Not by choice, but that's sometimes the way it works. Mistake one, right there. And it's solved. Solved. So we're going to rough this out with our knife. This knife is $1 knife. Okay, that's how inexpensive you can get into this. This is my favorite knife to shape with. I actually grabbed another knife. This is a knife that I tried making. Well, I didn't try. I made it, and I was gonna use this to shape with, just to show it off. But yeah, I'm not, because I like the blade, the longer blade on this, and I'm used to it. Okay, so I'm going to get this about where I want it. Another way that you can shape this down is you can use a hacksaw blade. I do a lot with that, especially if I'm working, typically not with smaller holds like this, but if it's a little bit bigger hold, I'll use just a hacksaw blade out of the hacksaw itself. You could also use a saw like this, or a drywall saw, a compass saw. Ryan from Escape likes using compass saws. And he treats it just like I'm treating this knife. That's how he uses his compass saw, if you've watched any of his videos on that. He's got a couple of good videos out there for shaping. They're probably going to be like this one, long. And you may have to just kind of skim through this. So we've got this fairly nice and shaped out, kind of carved out. Now we are going to grab our sanding sponge. Now you want to use a flexible sanding sponge like this. I actually used a sanding sponge that's a lot thicker. You can see them in any hardware store. Until I talked to, I think it was actually Typhus that I talked to. I haven't been able to like really sit down and be mentored by him, but I've been able to talk to him a few times. It was either Typhus or Ian Powell that really encouraged me to get these, and I would encourage the same thing. These are really handy if you're going to get into shaping. We're going to come in here and we're just going to bring that radius down a little bit more. Make it nice and smooth. And this right here, this step that's coming up after this, as far as making it smooth, I can spend days doing this, even for a small hold. You need to make it perfect. Absolutely perfect, because once you pour the silicone over it, you're going to see imperfections that you didn't see before. So you really need to take your time in sanding this out. Okay. So once I get that step done, I'm going to continue to smooth this out with my hand. I'm just going to go over it, and I have my directional light up here, and I'm going to just roll this. Let's see if I can get it up into the camera here. I'm going to roll this foam over and over, and I'm going to try really hard to find any of these imperfections. Excuse me, guys. Okay. Blow your foam clean too. Okay. So blow that foam clean, make sure that's nice and clean so you can see that texture, you can see what's going on. So I'm going to roll that right there, just with my fingers. Okay, now, if you want to just get some awesome likes, maybe just leave it right here. Maybe even try to make some of these edges a lot sharper, because doesn't that look good? That edge is nice and sharp, crisp. But as far as the usability of it, it's not going to be that good. And honestly, as a climbing gym owner, which I've got some news for that as well, I'll share it at the very end. I would be very upset if I paid for this hold, because I'm going to be very limited to where I can use it. I'm going to have to place it in spots where I know that the majority of the weight is not coming down on this edge, because it's going to injure people. So to avoid that, it's really easy. You take your finger. If you have nice soft skin, I'm going to say girly skin, no offense. I know there's some girls out there that have tougher skin than I have. But if you do have that really nice, soft, velvety skin, you maybe stick with this guy. But if you have a little bit of rough skin, you just take your finger and just radius that just slightly. Now you can see the difference here. It took off that sharp edge, and for pictures, it's actually not going to be as good, but it's going to be much nicer. Just that one pass, and I'll probably do two. Go through it. I'll probably come in here, maybe on this guy right here, just not take off all the texture, just the high points. Make sure that there's nothing like really sharp coming in right there. Okay, and then I'll do the same thing over here. Just a slight radius. Okay, that's going to make the usability of this hold so much better. Again, blow on the hold. I have noticed that there is a lag in the live, so I hope just go ahead and ask questions, even though I can't see that. I've got a friend that is monitoring that for me, and he's going to forward those to me. There will be a lag, unfortunately, but I will see those questions. Okay, so this now is a good hold to what I would do, or where I would place this hold now, is I would put this on the shelf. in the back, and I would bring it back out next time I'm shaping. Maybe in a couple weeks, I'll take it back out and I'll look at it and I'll see if there's any imperfections that I need to take care of. Now, once it is completely done and I know that I am going to be shaping it or molding it, then I put in the bolt hole. And with this hold, you can see, let's see, what do I have for a comparison here? Cell phones have a, well, okay, well, all right. I don't have anything right away that I can compare this to, but other than my hands, all right? It's a fairly small hold. It's going to be really limited on where I'm going to be able to place the bolt hole due to the washer. We want to make sure that the washer does not protrude or even get close to any of these edges right here. Okay, so I'm probably going to put that bolt hole. I'm going to look at this here, I'll try to look at it through the camera with you guys. So I want to go a little bit more up towards these edges because of how this radius is down. So I'm probably going to go about right there, maybe right here with the bolt hole. Okay. Oh, maybe actually right there. It looks a little different actually in the camera. So I'll just put a little pin in there, and then I will come back with my paddle bits on my drill press, and I will drill that out. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do your bolt holes. One way, and this is the way when I wanted to do this for a business, this is the way that I was doing it. In fact, this is one of my first dowels that I made. So this up here is at a 7/16 inch, and this is 3/4 inch. With those dimensions, with this being 7/16, you're going to have a little bit of play in the bolt hole or the bolt, so it doesn't get jammed, and the backs of your holds don't have to be absolutely perfect. It can rock a little bit on the wall and level itself out. It's a 1/16 of an inch, okay, which really means that you have a 32nd of an inch on both sides of the bolt. Works perfect, 7/16 in the States. And then this is a 3/4 inch diameter, which is actually a little bit bigger. You can go as small as 5/8 if you're only keeping your holds in the States. Now, if you go to another place where they're using the metric bolts, I would recommend going with a 3/4 inch head because the bolt head is actually wider when it's a metric. And I haven't got my hands on that, so I don't know the exact measurements to give you on that bolt head size. If there is anybody watching this that's overseas that knows the diameter of the bolt head on a metric bolt used for climbing walls, it's an M10 bolt, I believe. Shoot that down in the comments below. I would like to see that. But here in the States, I know that the 3/4 inch, that'll work for that metric bolt. It gives you a little bit of space. Yeah, so if I'm doing this, I will actually, I'll drill a 3/4 inch hole with a paddle bit here, all the way through the hold. And then on my platform that I'm molding this on, I will have a 3/4 inch dowel sticking up out of that. So then when I am pouring my holds, I'll use these dowels in there. And it makes your molds last a lot longer. The other way that you can do it is you can drill down with 3/4 inch paddle bit to the depth that you want your bolt head to go, and then finish drilling that hole down on a drill press, and not because you need the torque that's generated from a drill press, but because you need the accuracy from a drill press. Continue to drill that down through with a 7/16 bit, and then mold it. And as you pour the silicone in there, the silicone will run into that cavity, and then you've got the space for your bolt. So other than that, this hold is done. Now that was fairly easy. That was a small one. So there's our first hold. We'll set that aside. Let's take a little bit bigger hold. Let's do this guy. We'll try to do some more fun stuff. We're still gonna do this texture. This texture is what this video is all about. We'll try to share some shaping techniques with you guys. I hope that you're enjoying it. Give me a thumbs up if you're learning and enjoying this, and I should continue. And if you're watching this as a playback, I will be able to see those comments. So comment. And unfortunately, for some reason, I can't see the comments. I'll try to figure that out. So with this one, I want to try to create a pinch with this type of dual texture. So I've got the realistic texture like we have here, and then the smooth or clean texture that we have here. So I think that would look good as a pinch. So I'm going to attempt to do this with this block. So let's see, I want to have it at a slight angle, create a scar or a crease that we hopefully will get it to break on. And I'm going to go deep on the corners because I don't want the corners anyways. So there's our first one. And let's snap that. Let's try to snap that first. Let's put the teeth down. Let's see how that works. Okay, did not give me the snap that I was hoping. Did not at all. Nor there. But maybe we can work with that. Okay, maybe we can work with that. This is actually a really cool texture right there. And this is where Louie was talking about how he snaps a lot of foam and then works with what he's got. Okay, let's see if we can get a little bit better results on this other side. And maybe we need to go all the way around. I typically do go all the way around, and that's see, here I am making mistakes. And that's okay. We can learn from mistakes. That's because I have not practiced. I had not had the time. I've got a lot of things going on down at the gym. That's just been difficult. Okay, so now I've got that snap, or I've got that line going all the way around the block. I'm going to try to snap it from the back side here. Teeth up. Let's see what we got. Come on, baby. Give me a beautiful, yeah, it's okay. Not exactly what I want. I'm a little thin here. I think if I was going the other way and there was more foam, a little bit more foam behind it, it would work better. All right. I just got a forward here from about some questions. So let me pause on this. We'll come right back to it. I'm going to answer some questions here. So first question, did you ever try to heat up a cheese grater and push it through the foam? No, I think I haven't. I've seen some people use like a hot knife through foam, but never for shaping holds. When you're using a hot knife through foam, I think it's going to give you a lot more glazed or smooth texture than what you want. And these tools that I have in front of me here are actually, they work really well. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I try it though. If you want to try it, let us know. I'd be interested to know how that works. Let's see. What grit is it? It's 2-pound density. And does that matter? Yes, it does matter. I really hope that Ian does not get mad at me by saying this. The grit of the foam, he has started to really dial that in. Most shapers don't mess with changing up the grit of the foam, but Ian has a specific formula that he uses depending on how small the hold is or how sharp he wants the hold. He uses different grits. So if it's or different densities. So if it's going to be a sharper hold, he uses a more dense foam. I hope that's okay, Ian. If you stumble across this feed and you hear that, comment, let me know that it's okay. I might just shoot you a message and make sure that's okay. All right. Let's see. The worst part of shaping granite out of floral foam is how easy it is to lose that texture. Absolutely. And that's why Louie Anderson says he breaks a lot of foam. So when he's trying to make these shapes, he goes through a lot of foam. Anyone know if it's cheaper to make your own holds using these materials? I'm very opinionated on that. If you are doing shaping just to save money, stop. You won't save money, especially if it's on a small scale. Potentially, yeah, there is a margin there, but the margin is very low, and the amount of variety that you want to get, you can't get if you're shaping your own holds just to save money. So bad idea if you're just trying to save money. I think my climbing gym has maybe a tenth, not even a tenth of the holds that are in my climbing gym are my holds, and that's because it's expensive. Let's see, anyone? Okay. Is shaping foam expensive? It can be, but it can also be cheap. So this stuff that I got right here, I got it at the Dollar Tree if you're in the States or if you have a Dollar Tree around you. So that's $1. It can be super cheap. It's you want to get dry floral foam. Stay away from the wet floral foam because the wet floral foam is just incredibly soft, and you could spend 2 hours or an hour making your shape and then touch it, and it destroys your shape. It's super soft. So dry floral foam. I believe this is a 2-pound density. I wonder if this package says. It does not say the density. Of course it doesn't, but yeah, dry floral foam. And you want it to look like this. Now, out of this dollar package that I bought, I can, of course, I'm only going to be making small holds like this guy, but I can make at least 4 of them. So 25 cents. And that's the shape. Going from the shape, you've got to then cast it, or you have to mold it and then cast it. So there's a lot more expense that goes into it besides just the foam. All right. Next question here. Oh, perfect. Somebody mentioned the size. Thank you very much. Mike from Austria. Thank you. All right, let's get back to shaping. If there's any more questions, they'll be forwarded to me. I appreciate that help, JD. Really do appreciate it. So, because there's not a whole lot of weight behind this, let's say if I were to make this pinch a lot skinnier, this guy I know would work. So let's just do a quick test snap here. This guy, come down here on the tabletop and snap it. There we go. So that snapped nice and clean because all the way through, because there's enough there. So let's go right here. Let's try to get a little bit of a angle to it. And I'm just kind of scarring the foam here. Give us a good snap. Now I'm going to line up this line with the edge of my table. Try to give it a good snap. There we go. Okay, so you see, we got that. Let's go ahead and shape this down to that pinch that I was hoping to get out of this guy. We'll set this aside. I may use it again in the future. The Oasis Floral Foam 2 is a little bit more expensive, but when you buy it in the box, that big box that I showed in the very beginning of the video, I think it costs about $50. It's been a while since I've purchased it. So let's see. Let's go. Which side should be the back here? I really like how this rolls over here. Of course, I'll probably lose that because I want to have it tapered. That's pretty nice. I like that look, and I like this look here. So let's go ahead. We'll make this the back of the hold, and you can see here I want to get rid of this. I don't want to have that. I want to have this texture just flow into the wall. So again, we want to work off of the back of the hold first, and this is just when you're creating this texture. It's a tricky texture, and that's a trick from Louie Anderson, work from the back to create what you want. So let's go ahead. I want to keep more of this line. I think that's oh no, I can't. There we go. Yeah, that's even better. Let's see if there's any more of those pieces of foam that's just barely holding on. That would be sad if that floated off in our mold when we poured the silicone for that. Okay, so I'm gonna go about right here. This is much denser than the dollar store foam, so dollar store foam may be lighter than 2 pounds. Pretty sure this stuff is 2 pounds. All right, so there's our initial shape. Let's go ahead and get that nice and flat. We're going to do the same technique that we used on this guy. I'll set him back there so you guys can still see him. So we're just going to roll it on the table back and forth. Make sure that you're keeping it nice and flat and you're not rocking it as you're rolling it. And start to see this pile up. That's all coming off. So it's making it nice and smooth. I've got this nice and perfectly flat back. So we've got that. Let's blow it. Okay. Now we want to start shaping in our clean shape, our clean texture. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, actually because this is a little bit more substantial, I'm going to go ahead and use this saw. And we want to be fairly delicate with this texture. Okay, so if I were to just lay this down on the table like I was going to and I'm sawing it back and forth, it's going to rub some of that texture off. So glad I stopped myself. I'm going to hold this in my hand. We want to have this come down and roll down onto the wall. So we're just going to go ahead and make that initial cut. Now this piece right here, that could actually be another hold. So we could use that potentially for another project. Or if you're like myself, you can give that to your children when they are watching you shape and they want to learn what daddy's doing. So you give them your scrap phones and let them learn. Okay, so we've got that. Now I'm going to cut this down. So nobody wants this sticking way out. Okay, now I'm going to set this down. We've got these pieces. This can't do anything with that. But these could be good practice pieces to teach people how to do this. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here with my knife, and I'm going to knock down those edges. This is just going to make it a little bit faster. Now, I typically will take weeks to shape a hold, and that's because I want it to be perfect. If I am going to spend the money on the silicone, which for a hold like this size that I've got in my hand right now, I'm probably going to spend probably about $20 in silicone, just silicone, so I can make the hold. And when you're looking at holds, for me, maybe it's just because I'm broke, but that's a lot. That's a substantial investment. So I want to make sure that it's perfect. Okay. Now I don't like how this is looking, so I want to actually bring this back a little bit more. So we're going to do another snap. We're going to just very lightly crease this side. And we don't want to crease the back side. We just want to hope for the best. So we're going to snap that off. And perfect. We got that. We're going to have to just kind of smooth this edge down just a little bit, but I kind of like how that shape is looking now. It's pretty sweet. Let's roll this off just with the knife, see how that looks. Yeah, that's good. I like that. It's going to blend in nice. All right. Anybody thinking about Bob Ross right now? And just paint some happy trees right here. Okay, now I'm gonna get out my sanding sponge. And I'm gonna roll this smooth. I want to have it nice and smooth. Beautiful radius right here. That's the cool thing about having that clean texture is those nice, beautiful lines. And if it's a smooth texture and that nice, beautiful curvature is broken up by maybe a missed ridge. Let me blow this off. It's messed up by a ridge. Like I've got a little ridge right here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but I've got a little ridge right here. And it looks like I have a little ridge right here. And then I also, because this is so thin and I was pushing on it so hard, I actually have a line right here where my biggest finger was pushing down into it. So I've got to get that out as well. So we're going to roll this through. I really want to make this no longer than an hour, but I want to make sure that you guys are learning, and this is a good video for you to jump in and start shaping. Where I want to take the Climber Dad outlet, the channel, and hopefully a good website, is I want it to be the best resource. Put my mic back down. I want Climber Dad to be the best resource available for you as home wall builders and potential DIY gym builders to go for information, resources. So if shaping holds can be part of that. I know that there's a gym north of me. It's Rock Candy Holds. They have a gym that it goes hand in hand very well for them. Okay, so we've got that pretty well smoothed out. Now I'm going to leave this hold like this for right now. It's got some really good potential, and we'll go ahead and look at some more of these questions, and then we'll get back into it and finish this hold up. Okay, so with a hot knife to create the texture, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. You try it, see how it turns out. I mean, so and I would just try to use a scrap piece of foam. If you're shaping right now, grab a small scrap like this guy, and run a hot knife through that and see how it turns out. It might be good, but to also be aware of the usability of it. I think that as a beginner shaper, that's something, and even a hobbyist shaper, that's something that we lose a lot of times. Is we get really excited about these shapes that's sitting there on your shaping table, and you start thinking about climbing on it, pulling on it, and you actually go beyond. You miss a couple of steps. You get into the joy that it will be in climbing on it, and you skip the step where you have to think about the functionality, the fine tuning of the motor, if you will. If you're a car designer, the fine tuning of all of the little bits and pieces. You can easily skip that step, and you really need to focus on that step. All right, some other questions here. Chris Crux. Sorry if you've mentioned it already, but what's the name of that gray foam again? It is Sahara 2 floral foam. And after the video, I will try to jump on and give you a link to that. Oh, okay. It looks like JD answered that. Thank you, JD. Let's see. Yes. Trick CC mentioned, I've always wanted to do that. If that's the person that needs to shape, if you want to shape, shaping is so awesome. I just love it. It is an art form. It's sculpting, but it's not just, you're not just creating this shape to be looked at. The shape that you're creating must have visual appeal and usability. And I, especially now, and this is probably after I opened my climbing gym, the usability of it has become way more important to me. So let's jump back into this shape. Now I've got a nice curve right here. I like that. I've started to curve it right here. That's okay. I kind of like that as well. Actually, let's put just a little bit of texture, this texture. Let's try to get a little bit of that texture right here. Try to flick this off. There we go. Yeah, that's perfect. So we'll have some of that texture wrap around the edge. I think that looks good. And then as a setter, you can manipulate that. So that would be a good spot for a foot, a really nice spot for a foot. Let's see if we can bust this tip off. I don't know if this will work, but maybe. Let's just smash it. Oh, sorry, let me move my mic and I'll blow this off. Yeah, that worked pretty well. Just that worked pretty well, just kind of smashing it to take that sharpness off there. So now we've got that. I don't like how this is coming together with this shape. I think it makes it look a little bit too much like California. So no offense to those in California, but let's get rid of that. So let's just try to take that off. We'll kind of do the same thing up here, but a little less aggressive. There we go. And then we've got this sharp angle. Now, if I was just posting Instagram pictures and trying to get followers, that would look pretty cool. It looks pretty cool, right? These nice sharp lines, it looks sweet, but the functionality of that is actually it's going to be rough. That's gonna injure some people. And as a gym owner, And if you're climbing on your wall a lot, you don't want holds like that. You don't want to, at least if you do want holds like that, try to minimize those. So I'm gonna just tap that. Let's see if we can just kind of minimize that just a little bit. It still has the same function, but it's a little bit safer. Yes. That's starting to look pretty good, I think. So a little less like California. All right. Now I'm actually, let's roll this over. We're gonna bring that smooth shape into that a little bit, and I'm gonna drop the smooth shape down on these edges. These are design decisions that you make sometimes on the fly, most of the time on the fly, actually, for me. One of the reasons why I like to shape is because I just get to put down the rule book and cut some foam, and if if a shape turns out really good, then I'm gonna shape it. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this down at least till we get down to here where I've got that texture running in. Getting awful close to that 1 hour mark. So I'm gonna blend that down. Cut a little bit too much there. That's okay. I'll recover from that. Let's cut just a little bit, make this a little less humpy. I know that's not a word. Probably made fun of for that word. That's okay. You get to do stuff like that when you're a dad. All right, so, and by stuff like that, I mean say funny words and phrases that don't work. The dad humor. So I'm going to roll this over and get a little bit more shape to then just something flat here. Again, I'm going to say this. I cannot see your comments. I have no idea why it's not working. This is the first time I've done a live video off of my computer. I just can't see that. So next time maybe I'll go off of my phone again next time, and I'll have my computer here so I can watch the comments on the computer from a different channel. All right, it's starting to look pretty good. Blow this off. Okay, here we go. So I think that's a pretty nice shape. It's going to have, so we've got a mixture of this nice textured granite that we have here with snap foam. It's an aggressive texture, but we have the edges rolled, so you're going to be able to climb on this for a long time. That's something that's really important as, I'll move my mic down. I don't know if that makes a difference. This is a pretty strong mic, but I'll have it in front of my head, or in front of my face. As an owner or somebody that's climbing on holds a lot, you do want to be able to wear yourself out, not because of your skin getting cut open, but because you're fatiguing. That's going to be the best training, in my opinion. And I'm not the strongest climber. I'm more focused on the creation. I love creating things. Thank you so much for joining me here. I think that this hold right here is going to be, this is a very good shape. So there it is. I like the rolls on it. I like this texture, how it came out right here. This is going to be a super fun pinch. Now, the last thing that we want to do is we want to look at this. Almost forgot. We want to look at it as the function of it. So put it down on your table. Think about climbing it. Sometimes you want to have a wall right behind you or next to you where you can put on it and just imagine pulling on it. Right away, this edge right here, Not the whole edge, because this is an aggressive texture. We want to leave some of that aggression on there, but this point, just the point right here, we want to knock that off. And there it is. That's all it takes. So just by doing that, it's going to make that a lot more nice. I may want to come back in here before I mold this hold. If I do, I probably won't, but if I did, I would probably come back in here and just re-snap the foam here, because I did lose it. I got a little bit excited with the sanding sponge and took a little bit of that texture off. I'm going to come right here with my finger on this side. Just take that edge off, because we want to train our muscles and our body movement, our body position, not our flappers. Okay, that's good. I don't want to do that right here. Maybe just right here, just a little bit. And then right here, because how we rolled over that clean texture to meet the aggressive texture, we're going to leave that right there. So the only thing that's left to do with this hold would be to drill the hole. We talked about that. That's going to be for your bolt. And I'm going to be pretty open for the bolt placement with this. And I would think I would go right in the middle. As a route setter, if I go right in the middle, that will allow me to use it as a pinch or an edge, which honestly, if it's an edge like this, it's still going to be used as a pinch. But it'll give me some variety where I can move it around. Versus if I was off to one side, it would really limit where I was going because of the increase of the spinability of the hold. So one last time before I go, I'll check my phone here, see if I got any questions. If I did not get to your questions, comment after the video goes live and I'll be able to see those. Also, you can email me at theclimberdad@gmail.com. All right, so we do have a few more questions. Did you ever try to use coating this with a fiberglass? So this is the model that we're working on right here. And I've never tried to play around with fiberglass as far as creating texture goes. I have made jacket molds before, and I have used fiberglass to make the jacket mold. Now there is one video out there and where a guy carves some foam and then lays fiberglass over the top of that, and that becomes his volume or his hold. That doesn't, to me, I mean, do what you will. That doesn't make sense to me why you would do that. I would personally rather make a mold so you can have a lot more control over the texture. I mean, you'd have to paint, you'd have to add texture on afterwards if you were just using a fiberglass shell without a mold. Okay. Next question here. Let's see. Oh, just some comments. Clay, what's your thoughts on Rocky Mountain climbing holds made from recycled material? I have not gotten my hands on Rocky Mountain climbing holds, so I do not have an opinion on them. If Rocky Mountain climbing holds is watching this video and you want me to review those holds, I would love to take a look at them for you, and then I could give you an opinion. Otherwise, I can't do it. A nice tutorial, Climber Dad. Getting into texture lately. So thank you. Would you spray it with glue before you silicone it? No. So this is your texture. And if you can see, there's some like little fuzzy pieces on here. I would go through this and clean it off really well. before I make the mold, I would glue the back down. I would glue the back down, and then I'd make my dam around it, and then I'd pour my silicone. That's a whole other video, though, which I would love to cover. I've covered that in the past, but I can do it again if you'd like. So I hope that helps you guys. It was a lot of fun sitting down with you and doing some shaping. I am so sorry that I was not able to really engage with you on the comments. I will do some research and figure out what in the world is going on with that and make that correction for the next live video. Any questions, comment down below. If you're new here, please subscribe. We will be doing a lot more of this in the future. Now, if you are staying on with me, I've got some big changes coming up where that's, some may say that it's an unfortunate thing, but it's just a different chapter. When one door closes, another door opens. And I'll say it here first to my Climber Dad family. We will be closing our location for Clarksville Climbing, which will honestly allow me to focus a lot more on giving you guys some good content and creating Climber Dad into what I would really like it to be, where it is the best resource for you to go for DIY climbing wall stuff. Okay. So that's it. Like, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time right here on Climber Dad.